What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I'm going to talk about a story that just broke out of Raytown, Missouri. It broke yesterday, and it's getting a lot of publicity out there. It's a case about a 17-year-old teen boy who is in the hospital right now battling very serious injuries, fighting for his life. These two people up here. The woman, her name is Penny Woods. She's 36 years old, and her boyfriend, James Griffin, 38 years old. Both of Raytown, Missouri. Shout out Raytown. Almost forgot. Both of these people, ladies and gentlemen, are locked up right now and charged with one of the worst cases of child abuse ever in the history of Missouri. I'm going to let this news article play. It's very descriptive. So if you have a weak stomach, you might not want to watch it, but stories like this need to be told for those who can't speak for themselves. It's a damn shame that people do this. Wait till you see the pictures of this young boy. Take a look.
This was torture. This was abuse. My nephew was on the brink of death.
These two people are in jail tonight, charged with felony child abuse, and a 17-year-old's in a local hospital after nearly dying. His body is covered in bruises, cuts, scars, and his face is nearly unrecognizable. This is Fox 4 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Kevin Barry.
And I'm Bria Love. That teenager now in the fight of his life. In a story you'll only see on Fox 4, his aunt is sharing the gripping details of how this teen was finally freed from what he had been put through. Fox 4's Malik Jackson live at the Jackson County Courthouse tonight, where these adults will soon face charges for abuse. Malik, this is so disturbing. We actually had to blur some of the images.
And Kevin, doctors told the boys this is the worst case of child abuse they've ever seen. Police say that there's evidence that this teenage boy was tied up and beaten so badly that he's now on a ventilator. This family desperately praying that he pulls through. This as investigators say that one of the defendants admitted that the abuse had been going on for at least 6 months.
If people were to see my nephew in person, you would have to be inhumane not to cry. And just viewing his body, it did not look like that of someone who's living.
James Griffin and Penny Woods now charged with abuse or neglect of a child, causing serious emotional or physical injury. These crimes said to have taken place at this Raytown home. In a probable cause statement obtained by Fox 4, investigators explain in great detail what this 17-year-old endured. He showed up to the hospital Friday, his body covered in cuts, bruises, and abrasions. One of his ears nearly swollen shut due to an infection. He was missing nearly all of his teeth. Doctors noticed the teen had an altered mental state. He was malnourished, was suffering from hypothermia, a fracture in his spine, second-degree burns to his forehead. Fluid had built up in his lungs. He showed signs that he had been tied up at some point, and his shoulder blades in such bad shape that doctors told police they had only seen that in high trauma cases, such as a high-speed car crash.
And you look on the news and you see that happen to people outside in these other cities, and you're like, man, that wouldn't happen in Kansas City. I just think of these two criminals. They're disgusting, despicable people.
Now, to be clear, these two people are not these teens' parents. The reason that they took custody of him and his sister was because their mother was dealing with an addiction problem. Both Penny Woods and James will be back in court on June 12th for a bond review hearing. The prosecutor's office here in Jackson County says more charges are possible. As for this teenager, he is still in the hospital, but he's slowly turning the corner. Today, he spoke his first words since being in the hospital, and he will celebrate his 18th birthday next week. As for his sister, she's currently with deport her aunt, and she is doing the very best that she can. Bree.
Malik, such
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the story. And may this young man have a somewhat decent recovery. Because looking at the body, he'll never be the same. I want to read a news article to you. Well, it's actually the only news article that's out that gives you more details that the news story didn't. And it reads as follows. These people need to be euthanized right now. A boy is hospitalized fighting for his life as a police investigation of a severe case of child torture. James Griffin, 38, and Penny Woods, 36, of Raytown, Missouri, are each charged with 1 count of child abuse. A probable cause statement shows the boy's biological mother took him to the hospital. The woman said the boy and his sister were living with Woods and Griffin. The woman said she hadn't been in contact with her child for several years as she worked on her own recovery. The police officer contacted a caseworker at the hospital. According to court documents, the caseworker said the boy suffered extensive injuries. The probable cause statement shows the injuries include scars, open sores, bruises, burns. The boy's ear is so affected that it's almost swollen shut, missing most of his teeth, swelling to his mouth, broken bones, infection throughout the body, penile edema. The social worker reported the boy also suffered from an altered mental state as well as suffered chronic malnutrition. There are a number of other injuries on his body as well as effects of hypothermia. Court documents show he also suffered injuries that doctors say are consistent with being bound or tied. A doctor who examined the boy diagnosed him with child torture due to the degree of both his present and past injuries. The doctor also said the injuries went beyond the traditional diagnosis of child abuse according to court documents. The boy remains hospitalized and is on a ventilator. Court documents show he began suffering from seizures after he arrived at the hospital on Friday. Doctors are also concerned about the possibility of heart failure and feeding issues because he is so malnourished. After examining the body, doctors then examined the body of his sister. They determined the girl also suffered bruises and marks all over her body. Court documents show doctors believe some of the marks are consistent with being whipped. The 2 children are now in protective custody. Detectives also searched the residence where the children lived with Griffin and Woods. Now I want you guys to pay attention to what they found in the house. Inside the home, they found a bedroom with a broken bed frame. There was a piece of cloth tied around one of the exterior rails of the frame. One of the doors to the bedroom was screwed shut with a bookcase blocking the door. They also found other evidence of possible abuse inside the room, according to the probable cause statement. When the detectives interviewed Woods, the woman, she initially denied all the allegations. She claimed the victim and his sister fought all the time. And that is how the 2 children were injured, according to court documents. She also denied any knowledge of malnutrition. She later claimed that she whipped the boy with a telephone cord, but hadn't punished him for a while. Woods then told detectives that Griffin beat the boy every other day for months. See how she put it on the man? During an interview, Griffin also denied all allegations and has claimed that the 2 children injured each other. Court records show that both Griffin and Woods are in custody, held on $75,000 cash only bond. Woods is scheduled to be in court on June 12th. Griffin's next court date is also scheduled for June 12th. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And these two pieces of shit need to be buried up to their head and ran over with a farm tractor. They do. How do you do that to somebody? Look at this boy. Look at him. Who deserves that at 17 years of age with all that has befell him prior to meeting these people? Mother on drugs, ain't seen him in years. Definitely probably having issues with his father because he probably don't see him. And this is something we see all the time. So that's right there is already part of an identity shock to somebody. You living with strangers that's beating the hell out of you and only care about getting a check. Let's keep it real. Some type of compensation for having you there, and you barely alive because they beating you within an inch of your fucking life every damn day. It's cruel how people do each other. So they burnt his forehead. So he ain't had no hair. It's much worse than that. If you really look at that picture, he looked like a slave that ran away and was caught. And it's messed up to say that, but he do. Did you see them whelps on his body? Permanent scars. Past and present. Open wounds. Penile edema. Why'd you touch it? Who kicking him in the dick or punching him in the dick? If any of y'all don't know what that is, it's when your penis swells up. You're torturing him for. I just did a story a couple of weeks ago about a young lady who I had the pleasure of meeting after she saw my video. 15-year-old Tamara Johnson. Shout out to Tamara, who's still hospitalized and battling horrific injuries inflicted on her by her mother and her mother's bum-ass boyfriend, whose names I won't say. But you guys have been with me long enough. You remember these people. I have a picture up here. When has it been cool to torture folks that are children? This young lady, ladies and gentlemen, that are new to this channel, lost an eye, was shot through the eye, shot in the chest, raped multiple times by the boyfriend, and set on fire on her right side, mainly her face, by her own mother, who blamed her for the abuse at 15 years old. They had to GoFundMe, reach their goal. Last time I checked, we as the DRC family came through, put the word out, spread it on social media, also gave ourselves to show support for the evil that's out here and that was pressed against somebody that didn't deserve it. Same thing with this young man here. Same thing with this young man here. Said he celebrated his 18th birthday next week, which is this week, I guess. Said he's awake, but he's far from being out of the woods in terms of its recovery. People like this, dismissive, brutal, get them out of here. I'm dead serious. Get them out of here. Life in prison won't fix that. What did you notice in the article I read you guys? The woman, Penny Woods, blamed it all on the man. Now, I do believe the guy did the brunt of most of that stuff. But this is a Peter Panis and a Juggernautess. So you know she played a pretty good role in that. Because I'm going to tell you something. If this guy was beating this boy to death and all of this stuff, where you put it on him, you still a part of it. You might as well throw the punches yourself, because the nurturing spirit in you could have got the boy out of there. But that compensation y'all was getting was way too much and more than the responsibility you wanted to bear when you got the kid. See, he ain't been with them that long. In case you guys didn't know, he wasn't with them that long. So they figured he's an older kid. He'll just fall in line. Him and his sister. Now, they never named the age of his sister, but she was abused as well. But they know not to mark up a female the way they marked up this male. That's the thing. When you're a boy, people think you can take all kind of punishment. That guy and that lady beat on this dude like a man. Ain't no way 17 years old, you knocking his teeth out. You're beating him so bad that he's permanently scarred and you're still beating on him. You can't tell me that we don't have some type of inner hate for each other. You can't tell me. And I won't accept it when people sit up here and tell me whatever they want to tell me. This is crazy. The pain people feel in themselves, they reflect on the other people as if it's their fault that their lives are fucking shit. This guy will recover from the wounds, but he'll never fully recover from the damage that it did. He's not the only one. Tamara Johnson. I've been keeping up with the family, and shout out to the fam. Keeping us posted on updates. She had a surgery last week, guys. I forgot to add it in here, and she's doing good. But you know, a lot of times it sets in to where when you're in the hospital room, you have time to think and you decompress off of the trauma you go through. You go in and out of points of despair and depression of why this happened to me. What you think this young man's gonna go through? What about the sister? I'm sure she loved her brother. But you had two fucking assholes that watched these kids, right? Was getting some type of compensation out of it. Something was benefiting them. So let's just keep it real. And what happened? As soon as they got caught, and the mother came to see him, ain't seen him in years, and that's the condition he's in. She rushes him to the hospital. The real mom. These two people right here, dog shit. What happened? Same scenario, like in most crimes, with a male and female co-defendant, especially when it's something dealing with something you know you ain't supposed to be doing. Put it right on the man. Whoop, wasn't me. He did it. I saw him. What else? I don't know nothing about no malnutrition. He's skinny as hell. You can tell he ain't eat. How his face get like that? Oh, they was beating on each other. He's older than the girl, so the girl just beating the hell out of him. You watching them do that? I only whipped him one time, that was with a cord. What? This guy has been pounded and ground on. All them scars. And you never said, you know what? I can't keep doing this, beating on this boy like this. I mean, how you even punching his teeth out? He was your own personal punching bag, and you looked at him as a thing instead of a human being. This crime and many others where we see people abruptly invading somebody's human rights, because this is a human rights violation, they need to be taken off head first. No questions asked. You don't need legal representation when what you did was illegal and the proof is right there of what you did to him. You got to be shown the flowers immediately. And this saddens me, man. I hate this shit. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. There's some evil people out here. And these two are just two of a billion. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.